Now I want to start by saying that I don't enjoy doing these types of videos. I have a whole desk full of items to try out and test and review. Believe me, I would rather be at the range right now doing a little target practice and testing some of these products out than sitting here making this video. As much as I hate talking about politics, I do also think that it's very important we talk about certain things like magazine bans. Magazine bans don't change crime rates. There, I said it. And if you don't believe it, just take a look at any state that has some sort of magazine ban in place. Just the other day, the Washington State Legislature passed a ban on high-capacity magazines. Of course, we all know damn well that our piss-poor excuse for a governor will go ahead and sign this piece of trash into law as soon as it crosses his desk. Now, a lot of you know that Washington is home for me. This is where I was born. This is where my family lives. This is the state that I ran around causing havoc in as I grew up. Washington is a state that no matter where I go in life, no matter where I've been, I always find myself right back here, right back where I belong. That being said, it is getting harder and harder to justify being here between the excessive taxation and now these ridiculous magazine bans. It's getting real tough. For those of you that don't know, Seattle has essentially legalized most, if not all, crime. Heroin use, assault, theft, no problem. But God forbid you have access to more than 10 rounds in your rifle or pistol. I'm serious, there are people openly shooting heroin on the sidewalks of Seattle. Prosecutors absolutely refuse to prosecute drug crimes. Everywhere you look, there are dirty, used hypodermic needles. People can steal cars, they can mug you at knife point, they can go ahead and assault you. That's all chalked up as just life in the big city. Those are acceptable levels of crime to the Democrats that run my state. Yet somehow the thing that is going to fix our society is capping magazine capacity at 10 rounds. Does that make any sense to anybody out there? Never mind that the states that have the strictest gun laws also have the highest crime rates. Don't look behind that curtain. That's totally not coincidence. California's had a magazine capacity cap for years. And how's that worked out for them? The fact is, the term high capacity is just a made-up term. 10 rounds being standard capacity is absolute nonsense. The states that have magazine bans are the only ones that observe 10 rounds as being a standard capacity. As you all know, the standard for pistols is 15 rounds unless they're full-sized, and then generally it's 17. The standard for rifles is generally 30. And I don't know who taught these assholes how to math, but 10 rounds is not a standard. The debate over what is and is not standard capacity has really gotten old these last few years. Over in the Ukraine right now, they're handing out full auto AKs to anybody that is willing to stand up and fight to protect their community. Just think about that for a moment. We have gang violence everywhere in this country. Drug crimes are out of control because they are no longer crimes in the eyes of politicians. We have groups of people that are rioting and burning stuff to the ground, and they're being called mostly peaceful protesters. But God forbid we have more than 10 rounds in our magazines for our rifles and or pistols. Can I suggest maybe that we start fixing our communities by prosecuting the actual crimes being committed? This mag ban, it seriously makes no sense. The only thing the ban actually does is make it a gross misdemeanor to import any high-capacity magazines into the state. You can shoot up heroin on the streets of Seattle and chuck your dirty needles anywhere you like. You can go ahead and beat down tourists and take their wallets, steal their money to get your next fix of heroin without any fear of prosecution. But you better not try to sell a 30-round magazine to anybody in Washington, because we don't allow that shit around here. Nope, you can't have plastic straws or plastic bags. You damn sure can't have 30-round mags. But hey, if you overdose, it's cool. We'll hit you with that Narcan and bring you back to life as many times as you like at no cost to you. Go ahead and hit your local hardware or drugstore and steal as much as you can possibly carry. You obviously need it more than the store does. Just don't expect the full freedoms that were given to you within the Second Amendment to protect yourself. Look, if you live in Washington, you get it. You get the frustrations that I'm feeling right now. You understand that the voters in this state need to get off their asses and get active. They need to get their friends and family active. They need to get their neighbors active. If you're living in a free state, you're probably sitting back right now thinking this shit cannot happen to you. I suggest that you take a look around and realize that these changes happen little by little. You give an inch and they come back demanding a mile. It doesn't end. There is no such thing as common sense gun laws. That term is a sugar coating that they give to dull the flavor of the shit sandwich they expect you to swallow later on. What is that shit sandwich? Well, it is total removal of your right to own firearms. That's where all of this goes. This magazine ban is a great reminder that even if you aren't politically minded, you still need to be aware of your political surroundings. You still need to get involved in your local politics. You need to register to vote. You need to make sure that you're active in voting. Do your research and only vote for people that align with your particular values. People have been doing this mass exodus from places like California. They've been heading to states like, Arizona, Texas, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. Back in California and other states that they've come from, they voted for laws and policies that ruined their states. And guess what? Now they're coming to your state to do the exact same thing. As much as I want to bail out on the sinking ship that we call Washington, I just can't do it. That's the comment that most people make in these situations, right? Sucks to be you, bro. Why don't you just move to a free state? Okay, cool story, but it's not that easy. We all have friends and family and roots in these places that we come from. Someone has to stay. Somebody has to stand up and fight for the rights of those people that we all grew up with. If all we do is pack up and run off to a free state every time that times get hard, eventually there will be no free states left. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I do really wish that some of the big named gun tubers that live here in our state would have gotten a little bit more active during the last election cycle so that perhaps we would have stood a better chance at winning this fight. Unfortunately, it is what it is, and we are where we are at this point. Regardless of how this mag ban ends up, just remember to keep fighting. Keep working to vote elected officials out of office that don't protect your rights. Keep spreading the word. We got to talk to friends and family and neighbors. We need to make sure that we get as many people on our side active as humanly possible so that when the opportunity arises, we can remove people from office who do nothing but allow us to lose our rights.